This is the GV Podcast, a variety review podcast featuring two of the three idiots giving their thoughts on cartoons and anime. This is an opinion-based podcast, and there's no way we're saying our thoughts and opinions are objective. Keep this in mind and enjoy the show.
My Hero Academia? Is that what we're talking about today?
By Zero Crackademia?
Yeah, there we go. That's what Hello everybody, my name is Mayhem.
Jitsu.
I'm Duke. And today we're talking about Season 4 of My Hero Academia.
Of my favorite season of Academia.
The one we are watching now. That
This
we just watched.
was my favorite season. When I went all throughout it, this was my favorite season. I think it's still my favorite season.
It definitely has some really good moments, introduced a lot of characters that definitely earned their spot among the cast and all that kind of stuff. I definitely enjoyed it.
I hate to say this was the peak for Bones working on My Hero Academia. Because Season 5 and Season 6 got a lot of problems with pacing.
Yeah.
But this one, perfectly paced out. I would say the only problem I see with it is it has a similar problem to what Season 3 has. Actually, weirdly enough, the opposite problem. Season 3 ends one chapter too late.
Okay.
Season 4 ends one chapter too soon. I'll get into
That's
that
weird.
in the spoiler section. Well, Season 3, when we see Mirio, that whole episode about Mirio,
Yeah.
that's beginning of what should be Season 4.
Okay. All right. So, Jinsu, we showed you a couple of stuff from
The major fights
from Season 4. And told you, and we gave you a little bit of a heads up of Season 4. What do you think so far? Before saying exactly what happens, what do you think?
Cool villain.
The villain did have a lot of good imagery with it. There was that shot that you thankfully were able to see, where it's him, like holding, like him standing behind Eri, the little girl, in like.
He's a crow, and
he's
she's
a crow.
She's the golden, like, whatever.
Yeah, there was a lot of good imagery.
Golden
with him.
Lamb.
There was a lot of good imagery with him being this crow demon sort of thing.
It has this season has one of my favorite villains that they handle that is kind of one-off. Technically, it has like 3 villains in this season.
Yeah.
I would say first villain, absolutely love him. He's absolutely one of my favorite villains in most anime. Overhaul is one of my favorite villains.
Okay.
The second villain, Gentle Criminal, he's up there as one of my favorite villains, but not for being a villain, really.
For the same reason
he's
you
one of
like
my favorite characters, not my favorite villain.
For the same reason you like Gear 5.
Well, kinda. Also, he's just a generally good character. Like, well, mind you, Gear 5 obviously has the whole Looney Tunes shit with it that makes it fun. Gentle Criminal's entire thing is just, I wasn't able to be a hero, so I'm just going to be the most notable villain.
Hell
Unfortunately, he's in a time where the most notable villains are, like, psychotic murderers.
Yeah.
And so he wants to be the most famous gentle criminal, a.k.a., like, a
Bank
convenience store robber.
Yeah.
Friendly neighborhood criminal.
I'm your criminal for in this part of the neighborhood. So just know, if you see me in the backyard,
Give me all your money.
Give me your money.
Like, no joke, that is the pitch. In all fairness, no joke, that is the pitch of just, like, hey, friendly neighborhood criminal.
Can you imagine your neighborhood getting a hero and villain?
Friendly neighborhood criminal.
Like assigned to you.
Like assigned to you. Yeah. So it's like you always have to deal with these two always like fighting.
No one has a car.
That's
They always get thrown at each other. Yeah.
That is actually legitimately the entire reason for the fight in Civil War, by the way.
Hell yeah.
I'm not kidding. Of government-sanctioned heroes that would be in every state. Of like, okay, this state has this heroes, these states have these heroes, that kind of stuff. That is the entire argument of Civil War.
And then the League of Villains just decide, no, I guess we'll honor this rule and not just attack this one place that has this one hero that can't fight all of us at once.
In Marvel Comics, funny enough, there is a group of villains on the West Coast where their entire thing is just, there are no heroes here. That is their entire thing. There are no heroes
We
here.
have nothing of words. Please don't come by.
There's enough of us that whenever there are heroes, we can just kill them. That's literally their entire thing.
Hell yeah.
Oh, so it's the cartel.
Yes. But yeah, no.
Yeah,
So
so speaking of the cartel, this season
non-spoilers of just
features the
fucking Yakuza.
It features, the Yakuza, and I gotta say, it was something I was not thinking about. Like, when we were first watching this series, I was not expecting the Yakuza, but then afterwards, I was like, yeah, it's Japan, and we're also following the League of Villains. Of course we're gonna come across the biggest gang in Japan.
Organization in all of Japan.
Crime organization in Japan, the Yakuza, and obviously they're gonna be suffering from a case of it. Like, there was definitely a
they handled
shakeup.
it really well with that whole thing.
That there was a shakeup, and like the old world values before Heroes Yakuza were absolutely taken out by, I don't know, the new leaders that have crazy powers that want to keep their empire to survive under heroes and all that kind of stuff.
We hear it from Gentle Criminal that it's essentially, when it comes to super powered individuals with that are like the face of crime, there's three. There is All for One, and his
the big bad.
his entire empire that it was. There is Destro, who was the leader of a revolutionary group. And finally, there was this famous thief who his entire thing was, he was essentially just evil Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Well, Robin Hood is technically always evil if you are like full-on capitalist.
No, if you're a full-on elitist.
Full-on elitist, yeah.
Robin Hood is only evil
To the people who want to keep
to the
owning
people
Malta.
To
who
the
are
1%.
to the people who are evil.
Yeah. If you think that he's a bad guy, then you're a bad guy. But that's something that, like, this season with having the Yakuza and all that kind of stuff, My Hero does this really well, where it's like, I like the way that they deal with how the heroes and the superpowers and all that kind of stuff actually would have worked, and like how the world reacted and all that kind of stuff. Like, obviously people freaked out, some people still have biases, prejudice, all that kind of stuff. It
handles real world life problems really interesting ways.
in an interesting way that's like, if it was the same thing was brought up in Marvel or DC, it definitely doesn't do it the same exact way. It does it in a way that makes you go, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
That's the problem with Marvel and DC, in all fairness, of they try to handle those things, but they have no tact. Like, that's the unfortunate thing of, like, Marvel and DC, like, that's the problem with them. Of, like, when it comes to a lot of American shows, American media, they don't know how to handle those topics. They think that by just saying the word, then you're fine, you win, here's the gold medal. Like, Zootopia is a good example of, media where they try to present of, like, this is, like, the real life stuff, right?
And that's why everything is all hunky-dory at the end.
So let's like, I want to say that of just like, that's the example for me of just like American media having no tact when it comes to those situations. Oh man, how do we present the minorities versus the majority? Oh, let's present preys versus predators. Yes, because prey have absolutely no reason to fear a predator. Let us go ahead and call the minorities predators. There's definitely no implications there. Meanwhile, in this, it's where literally the equivalent of racism in this world is heteromorphs, where their entire thing is, I don't look human.
I have literally a giant chicken head.
And that is a part of the racism allegory of this show.
KFC keeps trying to hire me, but I don't know if it's for the reason I think.
we get more stuff with the heteromorphs a little later on, and I love it. But for now, it is essentially the best way to put it. They look you in the eyes and say, like, no, you're not going to have a civilization where looking at, for example, a man whose face looks like rocks and horns.
A literal demon.
Is suddenly the most normal person ever, right? No, they're not normal.
You gotta work
because
for that
other
shit.
people exist. You look at Deku, he's the normal one.
Yeah.
People still get freaked out at All Might, and he's the least weird of a population of weird.
Meanwhile, there's a lady who can literally turn into a dragon.
Her dragon form scares people. That's the thing. Her dragon form scares people. Her normal form is what she always goes with. Like, fat gum is concerning to some people.
Yeah. That especially that's why it also works with in an anime art style also, is just because they get to get the artist gets to get weird with their designs, and just I feel like it's half the time they make the power then make the character, other times it's they make the character then make the power.
Here, I got one for you. Hey, Jinsu. The KKK exists in My Hero.
Well, yeah, it's based off of the real world.
Yeah, here's the thing. It is
They evolved.
It is a version of the KKK where their entire thing is the fact that they hate heteromorphs.
They started accepting people who
They wear full-on like Ku Klux Klan outfits and basically commit hate crimes against heteromorphs.
What are heteromorphs again?
those are people with like bird heads or dog heads or it just just
Like
don't
bizarre
look human.
features.
Just don't look
right,
human.
right.
Yeah,
Look
and
like
The
demons
Zoans.
essentially the Zoans. Yeah, well, that's their entire thing, and the League of Villains is actually the one to in this world kill them off.
that even the
It's
League of
not
Villains
the
know
heroes.
that even the League of Villains know that racism is bad.
Well, they also know that apparently homophobia is bad.
And then the artist kills then the author kills the one representation.
No, Tiger's still alive.
All right, let's get into the story.
So, as a quick summary, we've got essentially what is it? I think 3 or 4 arcs, I believe.
4 arcs.
Yeah, it's 2 mini ones with 2 major ones. First arc is the overhaul arc, where essentially what it is Deku goes off to have an internship with a prominent hero who happens to be a man by the name of Sir Night-Eye, who was the protege of All Might.
What's his superpower?
His power is foresight, where he can see the future.
In the form of a movie.
Yeah. He is brought there by a fellow classmate by the name of Mirio, who is 2 years older than, who is 2 years above him, basically.
Oh my god, Mirio, also known as his superhero name, Lemillion, also known as Tintin, also known as Lucas from Mother 3.
Also known as Dukas from Mother 3. But when it comes to Mirio, that whole thing about his name being Lemillion, it is because he wants to save 1 million people.
Which is,
He is the most idealistic dude ever, and I love him.
he literally just has that one stand power that lets you swim through everything.
Yeah, I love it. It's very cool.
And we're watching One Piece, and there's a character who has that fruit that lets him swim through the ground.
Senor Pink.
And just looking at just how different creators get the same idea of power.
Oh, yeah.
And
Very
just
fun.
how different characters they make from it.
Well, that's the thing also of, like, when you compare it One Piece to, like, My Hero, for example, power-wise, My Hero makes it very realistic powers of, like, your entire
They make
thing
it
is
make
that you
sense.
can phase through walls. Okay, you can't breathe.
Yeah.
He,
Meanwhile,
like, the way that My Hero handles it is you are literally becoming intangible, fading through the walls and floor, and then popping out when you become tangible. Versus One Piece, where the way they handle it is you're turning the ground to liquid for yourself.
yeah, that you're basically just swimming through water.
That's the reason why it's called the swim fruit.
yeah.
The entire point of it is you are swimming.
Is Svim a swim?
Also, it is Senor Pink, who is one of the best characters ever written in all of history.
But that's the thing too, is that they always make him one of the best characters.
Yeah. So, when it comes to the story, you get Lemillion, who brings him in, and Night-Eye's entire thing is he wants a society that can laugh and smile. Because without laughs or smiles, where are you to go as a society?
Meanwhile, Night-Eye being the most cynical person I've ever
Most
seen.
cynical person you've ever seen. He had a tickle machine, by the way. Let's just ignore that one because that's horrifying.
And his
Hot assistant,
his
bubble girl.
employee was willingly put into it, and then quote unquote
willingly,
quote unquote willingly was quote unquote tortured with the
quote
tickle
unquote
machine.
tickles.
Quote unquote, because it was not tickly.
But yeah, so we get that whole thing, and he meets Deku, and immediately he gets pissed off because he's like, I know who you are. I know that you have All Might's quirk. Hey, by the way, consider you a bitch. Should have been Mirio. Fuck you. Anyway, signing you on.
It should have been the one that I wanted him to choose, but All Might is a human being and an adult who can make his own choices.
So we get All Might talking to Deku later on of just like, hey, so Mirio was supposed to be the one to get this power? Yeah, yes. One of the two reasons why I didn't want you to see him. Well, what's the other reason? Oh, because he predicted my death.
He sees the moment that the guy who can see into the future sees the moment where the number one hero dies.
Yeah, he saw how All Might dies in the future.
And that kind of skews his entire life journey, Jinsu, of why he was so fixated on the future being set in stone and believing that it was set in stone and unchangeable.
Yeah.
Mayhem?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll still happen?
Probably. The fact that All Might's been still alive for all of these seasons is actually very surprising to me.
Yeah, I thought he would die like season 3 or season 4.
There's a lot of moments that it's just like, if it was his death, I would not be...
Now, okay.
What?
No, just every time, and now, okay.
All right, still kicking.
I thought it was also kind of funny how, I think, Jinsu, you mentioned you had seen the last episode, I think. You saw the character Sir Night-Eye and was like, oh, that guy looks like a cool character. He could probably be one of my favorites.
He's dead.
So anyway, let's talk about him more. When it comes to this, so Sir Night-Eye sends Mirio and Deku off on missions, and they end up encountering right away the main
first
bad.
mission.
Yeah,
the
first mission. They encounter a little girl who is being abused by the big bad Overhaul,
and
who
it literally
is a guy in a bird mask.
Literally, this dynamic between the girl Eri and Deku is literally just the inspiration for Tanjiro and Nezuko and Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
It is literally like, if you put them side by side.
If you put that horn in her mouth, she would literally just be Nezuko.
okay.
Also, careful with that phrasing.
Then don't take it out of...
don't worry about phrasing. So,
There was a thing with their interaction that Lemillion did that I never really considered. That the fact that Deku was like, he saw the villain Overhaul and was like starting to like freak out, but Lemillion like shoved his cowl over Deku to basically hide his face, and basically Deku learns this moment of the reason why heroes need to wear masks is not to hide their identity, it's to make sure that people who are looking for a change in your face don't see like a weakness in you and all that kind of stuff, that they don't see you basically knowing what they're up to or anything like that. Meanwhile, there's Batman with the custom-built eyebrow furrower.
do you know there's a taser connected to the mask?
I hate that.
You didn't know that?
Batman goes unconscious. Oh man, I could just take off.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. You know what I thought?
Yeah.
Window open, taser comes out.
I was imagining that his cowl horns were
and he can punch with them.
He just headbutts you.
Oh, okay. You guys haven't seen the panel then.
Oh, is that how it's done?
No.
No.
Oh.
Hey, Jinsu. Bang.
Oh, they're missiles.
No, they break off and shoot at you.
Hell yeah.
Fuck.
He can shoot projectiles at you, and
World's greatest detective.
it is the yeah.
Whatever.
There's a actual panel in the comics of him, like they break off and shoot at a person.
But
More like world's richest detective.
you don't think a regular detective wouldn't have that much shit?
You think I couldn't be a baller as detective figuring everything out if I had $9 trillion to my fucking name and just had a whole corporate, like, fucking
empire
tech company just given to me?
Yeah.
Generational.
Here's the thing. Have we had one yet? Well, with plenty of examples. We haven't got one yet.
But like
I'm sure that everyone who tried is dead.
He has the supercomputers. He has the voice recognition systems. He's got the
car.
He's got the tech to dismantle, to fight against people. The bulletproof armor. The fucking.
I'm not wearing hockey pants.
The cowl that has the predator vision thing on it.
Well, okay. The actual reason why we don't have a Batman, you want to know why? Because we have a Lex Luthor and we have a fucking Maxwell Lord.
And they're all Batman.
No, they think they're Batman. Meanwhile, they're the villains of DC.
Meanwhile, they keep.
Literally,
Lex Luthor.
one of them is a bald man who is so rich and for some reason keeps making shows about evil Superman.
He keeps producing shows that make Superman the bad guy.
Yeah, keeps doing that, and it's like, oh, I wonder if this guy's fucking Lex Luthor. Yeah,
If he sees Lex Luthor as a struggle story.
Is he a bald CEO?
Yeah.
yeah. So there's that
Lex
as
over
well.
there.
Who has a thing for Wonder Woman named who has the same ideas of Wonder Woman's brand race of characters.
Which is
Amazon.
Screw you. Anyway, no, I was actually gonna say that's the thing. Honestly, I look at Elon Musk. I hate to say it, he's Maxwell Lord.
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy who killed Blue Beetle.
I don't know who that
I don't know who
is.
that is.
That's
The movie came out.
I know who Blue Beetle is, but I don't know anything about Blue Beetle's like story.
Well, the movie came out. It's
Well,
bad. It's made less money than Morbius.
Stop it.
wow.
Stop it.
Okay, wait, but Morbius was
I
like
was hopeful for that movie actually.
Morbius
I like
was,
Blue Beetle.
was like it was so bad it was good. That's why people kept watching it. That's why it did so well because it was just like
Blue Beetle is so
Holy
bad that it's
shit.
Hispanic.
Careful with that one.
no.
I am Hispanic. No, I'm just looking at the joke.
I'm saying with that just soundbite.
Are you Hispanic or are you Native American?
That is the question.
The answer is yes. Anyways,
Yeah, Jinsu, the answer is yes when you ask that question to any Hispanic. Or are you Hispanic or Native American?
fuck you.
That question Sorry.
Are you
Yeah,
white
let me
or are you
rephrase that.
white?
Let me rephrase that. Hey, Jinsu, that question gets you shot in Mexico.
No, it doesn't.
Because he would never go to Mexico.
Sorry. Oh, let me rephrase that one. Jinsu, any question gets you shot in Mexico.
No, they'll just ask more questions.
And then they'll shoot you.
No, they shoot me.
Yeah, they'll shoot him because he's white.
Yeah, no, you're the first one to get
They're
shot.
not gonna shoot my
I'm
brown
second.
ass. They're not gonna shoot my brown ass. They'll try robbing my brown ass, but they won't try shooting my brown ass.
Yeah, you'll get robbed. We'll get shot. Anyway, to cut our racist rant short,
Why'd you do that? Why is it that? Why'd you got
How
that?
is this a racist
making a
rant?
joke. Making a joke.
I know.
It's a joke.
and that's why I'm building off of it because it made no goddamn sense. Because it was
Anyway.
a bad joke.
So, yeah, DC and Marvel, they suck. Anyway, when it comes to this show, Overhaul, he's introduced actually earlier, where we get to see him interact with the League of Villains, and
Why don't you guys start doing drugs? We don't like that stuff.
get this guy out of here.
It makes me
Okay,
money.
he actually kills one of the League of Villains members. Who? It's Big Sis Magna.
Who?
She had a magnet
Her
powers.
entire thing was the fact that she had a magnet, and basically could make it so that people of the opposite gender could literally physically attract.
Okay, so
magnetized together.
the fuck did she look like? When was she introduced?
Let me grab the image.
Was she introduced in this season to be fodder?
No,
season 3.
No, she was introduced the same time as like Toga and everybody else. Like when they were recruiting people, she was there with everybody. But then immediately died in this season.
Yeah,
That guy?
Yes.
yeah. Big Sis Mag.
I thought it was a girl.
It's a transgender woman.
Pronouns thing.
Oh. Anyways, moving on.
It's one thing that people do kind of find a little funny. There's a moment when they actually talk to Overhaul of like it's Toga and Twice, and Overhaul says sorry for killing your friend there. Yeah, he was this whole thing, and Twice goes, you mean she? And we go, yes, because anti-LGBT, bad. Kill people, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
Murderous
all right.
Psychopath, that's okay.
That's livable.
It's just a minor detail of like not even anything against any group. It's just funny. But so we get that whole thing of he kills Big Sis Mag as well as he he takes the arm of Compress.
Yeah, just it takes the arm of their magician.
Yeah, the old man you saw who can compress shit. Yeah, his arm's gone.
We don't know that he's an old man. We never seen his face
They always call him old man.
because he's only 7 years older than them.
Well, they also call him old man because he's got an old-timey feel to him.
1920s magician.
Yeah, he acts like a 1920s magician. Anyway, we get that whole thing, and so that basically starts the whole thing of Shigaraki's just like, ooh, I could kill this guy. Ooh, I'm planning already. And so, go back to the mission. We see the whole setup of basically now it is a massive mission to go against the Yakuza. And we got Deku, obviously. It also includes Uraka and Froppy, who they are teamed up with the other, third year of their school. Being the Nejire.
The big three.
Yeah, the big three. So they are teamed up with Nejire as well as the Dragon Woman. Who
Call her proper name.
Ryuka.
Dragoon.
Dragon Lady.
Hell yeah.
And
It's
so
like she turns into a dragon, but she still has like human skin.
the other person to join in this essentially raid against the Yakuza is Kirishima, who is teamed up with the third of the big three, being the shy one,
Sun
named,
Eater.
Yeah, Sun Eater. I was gonna say, I think his name is Tomioka, and they he's teamed up with him as well as one of my favorite characters, voiced by Gohan, Fat Gum.
Voiced by the regular, like the adult Gohan voice actor, Fat Gum.
I know.
Fat Gum is one of my favorite characters.
I know.
Fuck
Fat
you.
Gum has a very fun power where his entire thing is the fact that he basically can. The more he eats, the more fat energy he can make, basically, and so that's the reason why he's so fat.
And then he can expel it.
Yeah, he absorbs all that stuff. Like basically, it melts away his fat, but at the same time can increase his strength.
He's got a time bomb smooth fruit.
Yeah, he's got time bomb smooth fruit, and once it gets smooth, he becomes hot. So anyway, we get
Moving on.
moving on. We get the big old fight with the Yakuza, where their entire mission is to go in, beat up all the Yakuza, arrest them, and take the girl to safety.
You know, Yakuza.
Yakuza.
Superpowered Yakuza.
So they go in. There's a bunch of different villains all around. Like there's one who can transform into the wall. There's I think just a bunch of random powers. Honestly, like that's just the general thing. Have a bunch of heroes joining alongside them. Like they got this one cockroach guy. They got Rock Lock, who's this really cool guy who is able to throw plates and freeze them in the air, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Rock Lock's really cool. And obviously, Eraserhead is also in this group. And so they go in. They're getting ready to handle shit. And Fat Gum and Kirishima are basically. Fat Gum's group is the first to get separated, as we have the Sun Eater guy. He's the one to get separated first. He fights a whole group of dudes and basically shows off how powerful he is. He basically has chimera powers based on what he eats.
Yeah, so if like he ate a steak, he can now have bull's horns. That kind of stuff. Would you want that power, Jinsu?
Jinsu, whatever you eat, you have the power of.
If you eat an octopus, you can have tentacles.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
You are what you eat.
And then you eat a chicken.
It is literally
and
the
you have
power
chicken
of
legs.
you are what you eat, yeah.
You eat a donut, you turn an ace.
Or Kakyoin.
Or Rengoku.
Or a Bakio.
Yeah. We get his whole fight. It's pretty cool. Not much to say there of just that cool fight. And then we get Kirishima and Fat Gum versus basically Unbreakable Shield and Unstoppable Spear.
Unstoppable object, immovable force. I said it opposite.
Okay.
I said it literally opposite.
Yeah. You almost gave me a stroke. Your stroke almost gave me a stroke.
Why do you think I had to focus on saying it wrong?
Yeah. So we get their fight, which is very cool. It's Fat Gum taking all these punches from the punching guy. That's his power. It's punching.
It's just punching, yeah. It's always fun when the character's power is literally just punching. That's what it's like. It can either be the best. Yeah, it can either be the best one, literally just the best stand, or literally like just like, all right, everybody can do magic or turn into crazy shit, and you're just gonna punch. All right.
In a world full of magic, my favorite power is throwing hands.
Yes, that's why Rock Lee is best.
That is why, honestly, this guy is my favorite. Like, the thing is in that episode.
It's not in the thumbnail.
Yeah, but it's the reason why that guy is my favorite character in this arc, of like one of my favorites. It's a side villain who's so cool because his entire thing is just, I want a good fight. And so he's just trying to beat the shit out of Fat Gum, we get the whole thing where Kirishima has a flashback that obviously will give him strength, where he has a flashback to he was in middle school with the Pink Girl, and at one point, Pink Girl and her friends were getting harassed by this big old monster dude, and Pink Girl was the one to solve that situation. He froze in fear. He wasn't able to move.
He was completely incapacitated by it, but Pink Girl had the bravery to overcome it.
From that point on, he moved on to basically make it so that he will never run away again from a problem. He will always charge headfirst to protect people.
He will be rock steady, not trademarked.
Yeah. So that's his entire thing. He stands steady, taking all the punches for Fat Gum. Fat Gum takes that moment to charge up and use one final punch to just break the unbreakable shield and launch both villains away. This is also when we get to learn from the punch-in dude, where his entire thing is like, oh yeah, no, I wasn't planning to work for this guy until he killed me multiple times.
Until he
11 times, actually.
He found a way to erode the rock mentality.
That was another short I got to make, by the way, this morning. Was making shorts for the Full Metal Alchemist episode.
Hell yeah.
I was making shorts, and one of the shorts was in response to envy off in itself because of being like
sad,
analyzed their character.
Yeah.
Of just like, can you imagine off in yourself because your character was analyzed? And it's like, oh yes. I'm like, you have? And it's like 11 times actually is what you say.
11 times actually.
But so we get that whole thing, and now we have the setup for the big fight that's supposed to happen. And we get Deku, Mirio, Night Eye all going up against Overhaul, who is like taking care of the
has the same earthbending powers that they show off in Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah. Yeah, of Little Miss MacGuffin, yeah. And so we get this whole fight where Mirio is the first one to fight him, has an awesome fight where he keeps avoiding his hits until the hit is going to hit Eri. And so he jumps in the way and gets shot.
Can't let the little girl who's somehow still in the realm of battle.
Yeah, let me mention this to you, Jinsu. This is awesome. Mirio gets shot with an anti-quirk bullet. It erases his quirk, fully erases it. And so Mirio, like you would assume, is just done at that point. He's just fucking done.
Lemillion is now Le.
Le.
Yeah, Le.
He is laid out.
He is Le one because he only saved one. Well, Mirio, he continues to fight for 20 minutes. They don't show it really throughout, like in the actual episode, because obviously you're not going to see a whole 20-minute sequence of him fighting.
Why not?
But they mention for 20 whole minutes he continued to fight one of the most overpowered characters in all of My Hero, without a quirk.
He still had the drive, the dedication.
It's all about drive. It's all about power.
Did you die?
No, he did not die, but he was fucked up.
The show sucks. Nice.
Oh, you want to see somebody die? So anyway, Sir Night Eye pops in and gets stabbed through the gut. Like, he tries to protect Eri and Deku and gets stabbed through the gut.
From above the belly button to the lower two ribs.
Basically, around the diaphragm, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he gets stabbed. Deku then goes off to fight Overhaul. Has one of the best fights in anime where he saves Eri, joins up with her. Her rewind power is revealed.
Yeah, so it turns out she can rewind living things, but she can't stop it right now because she's a literal child. So she will literally rewind you to the point before you existed. But if you're Deku and plot happens to be on your side, you can use 100% of your power and not suffer any consequences.
Yeah. And so he plot does plot, and he has this epic fight where he beats the shit out of Overhaul
and defeats him. But I was actually worried, like when I was watching this, I thought this was gonna like turn into Deku basically getting drunk off power, but thankfully Eraserhead makes sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, Eraserhead clocks out Eri essentially
because Deku was going to explode.
Yeah, so fixes that whole situation. They go to the hospital to deal with their problems, and that's when we get the reveal that Night Eye is dying. And his
turns out being stabbed by a foot by foot diameter spike of pure stone doesn't really help.
So what we do get is we get his final prediction, basically. He looks into Mirio's future and sees that he will be one of the greatest heroes of our time.
Oh yeah.
And so that is his basically goodbye to everybody as he passes away.
It's in your hands now. Bye.
Moving right on to the next arc. Let me check. Yeah, from the looks of it, the next arc is actually Bakugo and Todoroki going off to get their hero license.
Yeah, after
Just
this
a couple
whole
episodes.
this whole crisis and everything happens, it's now just like, all right, let's have some joyful shit happen, some small scale, not intense shit.
So Bakugo and Todoroki go off to get their hero license, and this is also when we see the students from the other school. What is it? It's UA in the west and then something in the east.
I have
is the
no
way
idea.
They call. Basically, it's a school on the opposite side of Japan.
But it gives us two really great characters.
Yeah, Baldy, who is one of my favorites. His entire thing is controlling wind. Love that guy.
I
He's
can do
so
that too.
fun.
It's not impressive.
And also Hot Girl, who her entire thing is she can make pretty boy versions, like clones, basically.
You make clones. Yeah.
Yeah, she can make a pretty boy version of Todoroki to distract people, and like all that stuff. It's goofy as shit, and the best thing is if you read the manga for that, because she uses a bunch of like Gen Z slang, and the editor keeps putting notes of just like, this means this. This means this. I think this means this. I don't know. I'm losing track.
It's a good thing she was made like
old.
at the beginning of the 2010s and not now, because she would have said, I can use Riz on people.
Mayhem, how did you predict season 7?
Oh.
I said she uses modern lingo.
Oh.
There is literally a point when she says no cap.
Oh. Is it because she lost her police hat?
No, she still has it. No, that's actually a thing that is set. How did you know the joke that was made in that part?
Because I know jokes. Because
Yeah,
I'm a person who makes jokes.
But that's the funny thing of the joke that's literally made there is, I think this means when you lose your hat, I don't know, I'm scared. But it's kind of shit of like, she would be she's the type of person to say W Riz. Shit like that.
Yes, I make jokes. That doesn't mean that I make good jokes.
Yeah. So it's all stuff like that, but hot as fuck. Anyway, they have their whole thing and they get their hero licenses by, and I'm not shitting you, Jinzu, they get their hero licenses by just calming down some goddamn children.
Because children are starting to become gods by how many quirks they have in them.
There's a kid whose quirk is just basically sentient blobs that fly around him. There's so many weird ones. These children are awful, and I want them all to just go extinct.
That's why I'm curious about when we see the future of the My Hero Academia world and just see just how completely balls to the wall powerful the next generation and the generation after that is.
I can't wait for the next villain of My Hero to be Riri Destro.
Riri.
Yeah, Riri Destro.
What rapper is that?
I just said it. It's Riri Destro. What the fuck is wrong with you?
When is Zahando gonna?
Yeah, it's like stands where it's like the more of them that we have, the more complicated and bullshit they get.
Basically, it's right now we're like part 5 stands.
Yeah.
Compared to 10 years from now, it would be part 9 stands.
Is that a thing? Is there part 9?
I haven't read past
Yes.
part 6, so I wouldn't know. But they do get pretty wild. Like there's a stand where if your opponent has a cut on their body, if their opponent has a cut on the sole of their foot, and you are 1 story beneath them, you can control them.
What?
That's the power. If they got a cut on their foot. And it's like, I don't know what the specifics are, but you have to be like 1 floor away from them in order to control them. That's so stupid. It's like the wildest shit. Like, okay, and then there's another power that lets you when it's raining, and only when it's raining, you can run in the air. You can run everywhere. The rain will go through you, and like bullets go through you and everything, and you're totally invincible.
But
only when it's raining.
And you can't walk on water.
You can walk on water, but like, cause he's running on the rain. But like, it has to be raining. It's like, okay.
Mayhem.
So weird.
Mayhem.
What?
I can fire my fingernail at you. 100 chapters later, I'm God.
I'm just built different.
Mayhem. There is one that people have literally joked about is essentially the Council of Reeds from Marvel, where it's the Council of all the Mr. Fantastic.
Where it's all the different parallel universe forms of each other.
That's exactly what happens in JoJo.
Which you know,
deeds and they're done and dirty.
Dirty deeds done dirty.
Which you want to know the better way of it, the best version of that? Sylvester Stallone and his copies of himself in Spy Kids 3D.
Yeah. So much. It's so fire.
Just hearing Sylvester Stallone do different voices is just wrong.
My favorite thing I've ever seen was Mark Hamill. There was a special cartoon that was made for Mark Hamill because he's the voice of Joker as well as he's the voice of the Trickster for Flash. And there is a cartoon where it is Mark Hamill as the driver, basically being forced to be a getaway driver. And it is for Joker and the Trickster, and he ends up fucking with them by using their voices.
See, we gotta have more of that kind of stuff coming back.
Joker, you're an idiot. It's like, what did you just say to me? Well, Trickster, you're an idiot too. How dare you say that to me? Kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're filming this, and it's just Mark Hamill in the car
Talking to himself in 3 different voices.
Kind of what it was, honestly.
Ever since Star Wars, he's had schizophrenia. There's been Force Ghosts and fucking...
He's had to talk to himself for too long.
So you mean like Dan Aykroyd after Ghostbusters?
Did he think it was a documentary?
Yeah. So, to the story, we get the whole thing where obviously they chill down the kids, and we also get Endeavor showed up to see their progress, see Todoroki's progress, and also to ask All Might, like, hey, how the hell did you do this? How did you become the symbol of peace? And he's like, well, I just was myself, basically.
I just smiled a bunch and everybody was okay.
I was a good person, so people liked me. You're kind of a dickhead.
You're not the most likable sort. I'm also doing my Guy Lee impression.
Yeah. We also get the mentor that taught them how to help out kids. Funny enough, it was Gang Orca.
A character that I'm still not 100% sure if I like them or not.
100% underrated. I love Gang Orca.
I'm very worried about him.
He's kind of cool.
He's got a tie that's his tongue.
And that's what I'm worried about. Does he lick people with the
No,
tie?
he's just Kyogre.
You know the part that gets me, though? The fake eyes.
The fake eyes, yeah.
The fake eyes of an orca. He's got the big old like white eyes that you think are his eyes, but then it zooms in and you see those like awful orca eyes.
That is just...
So
it doesn't make sense.
He just has normal orca eyes. He doesn't have fake eyes.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense why they have them.
Well, no,
just literally
orcas have the fake eyes.
I know why they have the fake eyes, but it's stupid that they're literally just right there. Meanwhile, there's ones for tigers that are literally on the back of their ears, so predators don't know if they're looking at their face or the back of their head.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, what's a predator to a tiger?
Anyway, big bro
Another tiger.
Mirio. Big bro Mirio.
Bigger tiger.
Eri is brought to the dorms as she's basically adopted by Eraserhead.
The Eraserhead in the school.
Yeah, Eraserhead's her dad. And so Mirio essentially becomes her big brother. And there's this entire arc where the entire point of it is a school festival. Not a sports festival, a school festival. Just all dedicated to, like, hey, do something fun with your quirks.
Japan
do something fun.
Japan is just so much better at having like school not being so terrible. Also, it's terrible because of how intense they imply that how successful you need to be.
Class 1A goes all out and they're like, "Oh, what should we do? I got it." And Earphone Jack is the one to lead it. Let's form a band.
A band. But it's like the fact that they're able to
They
do
perform
this,
a musical.
the fact that they like this is just a project that they could just do now at the school, and the school already lets them do almost whatever they want because as long as it's hero practice, they can do it. But it's just so weird to me that it's just like anytime you see anything from Japanese schools, and it's just like, I'm pretty sure if we showed off what we did in ours, they would feel very
get
bad for us.
Wait, what? I'll say one other little side bit to this storyline was basically them trying to make Aerie smile. She cannot smile. That's her entire thing right now.
She is traumatized.
Yeah, and they visualize it as this giant crow basically floating over her, essentially.
A
Of
crow-
like, still she's
her
in
trauma?
its grasp. Yeah.
It takes the form of Overhaul.
Oh, speaking of Overhaul, I forgot to mention what happened to him. Yeah, remember how he got beat the shit out of by Deku?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically being sent to the hospital, and the League of Villains showed up and decided to grab him. Dobby kills a guy. Dobby kills a hero that was protecting the ER, essentially.
Like transporting
Yeah, the transporter. And
ambulance.
he kills the guy. He just straight up kills this sand dude.
Say kills the guy one more time. Say it again.
Slaughter, eviscerate, murder,
Burned.
canceled on
Fire.
Twitter.
He glassed him.
Well, he was a sand dude, so yeah, he was glassed.
Gave him an ouchie. And then what do they do to Overhaul again? Like they pull
They
him out.
cut off his arms.
They just full on just because
He can't use his quirk without his arms.
His power is all about like manipulation, but he has to touch it. That's why he was always wearing gloves,
Yeah.
so that he can be normal and not have to worry about his quirk accidentally activating. But so yeah, the League of Villains just take his hands.
The League of Villains took his hands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he killed one of their comrades, and he was and he was like the head honcho for the Yakuza because he was so powerful they couldn't touch him. But now he's just a guy.
They also take his bullets. He had more bullets that could take away your powers, and so they took it.
The final supply. The Chekhov's bullets
Yeah, Chekhov's bullets.
more intense than Chekhov's gun because it was used without a gun.
Chekhov's coffin, and he's in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
They
that's what happens to Overhaul. Meanwhile, Aerie is trying to smile. And so we get the whole musical thing, and as they're getting ready for it, the school basically tells them, if anything happens, we're shutting this down immediately. Like, I don't care what it is. Anything shows up, anything tries to mess us up, we're shutting this down.
You guys have gone through so many traumatic events and emergencies that the second one is happening, we are shutting this down and no one's getting hurt.
Enter the hero of our story, Gentle Criminal. His entire thing is he just wants to be famous online because of the fact that he wasn't able to become a hero. Like, he just wanted to be a hero, but people were so awful that he couldn't become one.
The funny thing is just it was everybody around him just telling him he can't be a hero was the reason why he couldn't be a hero.
Yeah, that was his entire thing. And so,
Hey man, Superman couldn't fly or breathe in space until he told himself he could.
until his parents said, "What the fuck?
Until his parents said,
You
"You're
did what?"
adopted.
You're an alien."
You're adopted. You don't gotta worry about none of that.
Gentle Criminal, his power, like I mentioned, it was basically like a Looney Tune thing. To be specific, it's essentially he can make a trampoline.
He can make a steel beam bounceable.
He can throw a trampoline at
Gentle
you.
Criminal?
Yeah.
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 And it's a very...
Like, hey, Jinzu, you're a trampoline.
This is very much... Gentle Criminal is very much like... The idea that, like, the atmosphere that his character gives off is very much the author's version of a One Piece character. Where it's like, they're a villain, but you enjoy them.
Apparently, one of the earliest drawings by Horikoshi that we've seen in a manga was not My Hero. It was actually in One Piece.
Hell yeah.
It was a fan art of, I think, Crocodile.
Ooh.
Yeah, just kind of interesting.
The One Piece overhaul.
I suppose. But so we get this fight with Gentle Criminal and Deku, as basically Deku's like, no, I'm going to make sure this girl smiles.
We're not shutting
You're
this-
not doing this.
I'm kicking your ass! And Gentle Criminal is just like, oh, you fought Overhaul. I'm fucked.
He gets his shit kicked in, but also he has a moment where he basically gets a boost of strength because of a character by the name of La Brava.
The Bravo.
I hate to say this because it's La Brava's the worst character, I hate to say. She's got an interesting concept behind her. Basically, she's a stalker who got in trouble back in middle school, gave up on life, and after high school joined up with Gentle Criminal and kind of fell for him. And so
it was it's like a stalking Stockholm syndrome sort of.
She's a yandere, but he's got no one else, so she can't yandere her way.
She killed everyone.
Well, that's the thing. No one in his life is killed, so she's essentially a yandere without any yonder in her life.
Whatever the fuck that means. All right. But that's not all that she has, because she has also the worst thing. What is that, Duke?
Short. So
she literally, like, we see her back in middle school, and and she looks exactly the same as she does right now.
In middle school, because of her traumatic past of her crush not liking her and finding her creepy, it stunted her growth. And so she's the same height that she was back in middle school.
Just with very heavy eyeliner.
There's an entire love story between Gentle Criminal and La Brava, who her entire thing is that her growth was stunted from when she was in middle school.
Who the fuck is La Brava?
A sidekick to Gentle Criminal, but he's a villain.
She's the tech whiz to Gentle Criminal.
Oh, okay.
And she's the guy in the chair, but
she's in love with him and has a power that can power you up through love.
So that's funny. She's Pura then.
Yeah. But like worse.
From Breath of the Wild.
She's literally Pura, yeah.
But like worse.
Pura, but there is actual love story with Pura.
She didn't decide to be aged down.
Yeah, unfortunate.
She didn't decide to be aged down and then back up.
So, yeah, we get that whole thing.
I'm trying to see old Pura, though, man. They don't call me the Duster Buster for nothing.
No, I'm fine with the 23-year-old one.
Yeah.
So Gentle gets the love boost and tries to fight Deku. He does pretty damn well. He has this really cool fight against Deku. But obviously Deku wins because he's the hero.
Because he's a protagonist.
And he gets to run off and go join the concert to make Eri smile. And it's this great thing where you see the whole song going on. It's real nice, touching. You get to see Jiro's the earphone jack, her entire reason for wanting to be a hero
don't they actually have the voice actress sing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think unfortunately in the dub they use the Japanese voice actress, but she sounds so close that it still fits.
Yeah, earphone jack is another case of like she's a much more minor character compared to like some major characters in anime, but she's one of the cases of her Japanese and English voices are really close.
Oh, yeah. So we get that whole thing. It's a very fun song of, like, you get to see them just belting their hearts out. And Eri, eventually, you see this shot of the crow that's over her, overwhelming her until it blasts away and she smiles.
It's a really good moment.
Because Mirio crying of Deku, look, she's smiling.
They've built up Eri this entire season, and the fact that it's like they had this moment that like they could have easily have just been like, we never saw her again except in like some like quick moments and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that they spent this mini arc to make her like at least try and get over a bit of the trauma, like start getting over the trauma and all that kind of stuff with this method and all that kind of stuff, it was very interesting to see, because usually, oh my god, you beat the villain. That must mean I'm totally fine now. I'm already okay. Nope.
Finger gun, yeah.
Nope. Trauma's still a thing, and this is a child.
Yep. After this, we get a cooldown for they get to have a fun time experiencing all the stuff with the school festival and chill down, roll down. Real cute moment of Deku handing her a candied apple. Just real cute.
Wasn't that like set up also? That like
she says like, apple? Oh, what do you want? I want an apple.
Candied apple.
It's like, you want something sweet? I want an apple. How about a candied apple? What's that? It's like an apple but sweeter.
Oh my god!
It's real cute, and like there's even a whole thing where he got the sugar dye or like the dye for it from Sugar Man.
Oh yeah,
which was real cute. Afterwards, we get the final, essentially, arc of this season.
2 episodes.
Very mini arc is where we get to see the revelation that we get the top 10 heroes.
They finally update the top 10 heroes because All Might is now officially out of the picture.
The miscellaneous ones that come to mind were there was Wash, who was a washing machine, an old samurai man, Kamui Woods, the shield hero, not that shield hero.
Wrong anime.
Yeah, wrong anime. Better guy, Crust, way better character, not accused of inappropriate actions. Doesn't buy slaves. Show's weird.
Moving on.
Yeah, trying to think. Dragon Girl.
Oh, hell yeah.
She was one of them, and the major ones that were mentioned were number 5 being the Bunny Girl hero.
Yes.
Number 3 being Hawks, number 3 being the pants dude,
Best Genius.
Best Genist. Number 2 being
Batman.
Hawks, and number 1 being Endeavor.
Endeavor is now number 1, but on a technicality, so he is very miffed by that because he's just like, I was trying to overpass All Might and become the number 1 hero to surpass him, and I just got it because All Might was too much of a hero.
He goes off with Hawks. Basically, he says, "I'm gonna prove that I'm worthy of number 1. Just watch me." And so he goes off with Hawks on this whole thing because like Hawks is like, "Hey, I need you for a mission real quick," and it's like, "Oh, okay." And he basically explains, ever since season 1, the Nomus have existed, and the moment we knew that they existed, public has been in a bit of a like very scared state, basically. Like, everyone is scared of the idea of Nomus, which is fair.
Especially when we soon find out
Jinzu,
that they're
here's
dead
a
bodies.
walking corpse with powers that it shouldn't have.
And it looks like
That!
And it's a brain head with eyes on the head and a mouth and...
maybe this.
Yeah, no, disturbing.
Sometimes with wings, sometimes it's big, sometimes it's lanky,
Sometimes it has titties.
Sometimes it's a woman.
Which
truly
smash or
terrifying.
pass. Yeah.
It's in that category of if I could, I would, but
Yeah,
otherwise I would die.
Yeah, Jinzu, still the funniest thing I've heard is there's a Nomu that shows up later, obviously. I think you've seen the season, but the female Nomu, want to know what her name is?
No.
Want to hear it? It's just woman.
Woman!
Her name is just woman.
Woman no move.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but not even woman Nomu, it's just woman.
What's her quirk? Woman.
What's your cook?
What's her quirk? Her quirk is cook. Her quirk is get back in the kitchen.
Is in the kitchen. If
Her
I'm in a
quirk is
kitchen,
in the kitchen.
if I find you in the kitchen the same time that I'm in a kitchen, I can.
Hey, let's move on. So
What state power is this?
no. So, we get this whole thing where they're working together of like trying to figure shit out, and the entire time, Endeavor is dealing with his public image of everyone's scared of him.
Yeah, he's just this towering, very cynical man with fire all around him all the time, and very much anytime anybody tries to like get a picture or something with him, he's just like, "Why would you want this?"
So we get the final bit of the show is basically Endeavor and Hawks get attacked. Like, they get attacked by a high-end Nomu by the name of Hood.
He's called Hood.
Yeah, his name is Hood. That his entire thing is the fact that he's one of the most powerful Nomu at that point.
He can learn. He can figure things out.
He's the first of the high-end.
Yeah.
And brought in by Dobby, who's just like, well, time to test this guy out. And so
They got a
Endeavor
really
gets
good
this
fight
massive, really cool fight against Dobby. Hood.
against Hood.
Which it ends with him basically losing an eye and Hawks losing all of his feathers until they have to regrow.
And like at the same time, we also get a bit more setup for Endeavor and Todoroki's family.
Yeah, Endeavor is an interesting character because of the way they build off from what he was in the beginning, which is just abuser.
Which is just abuser.
Wife beater.
Firelord Oz.
Firelord Ozai.
Do you think he wears one underneath his armor?
Firelord Ozai if he was obligated to not be a dick.
If he wasn't the Fire Lord.
When he was training Todoroki, wasn't he wearing a wife beater?
He was.
The hints were there the whole time.
I think it was the same color as mine.
I think the hint was right before he smacked the shit out of her. Oh,
Even more
Jinsu,
conveniently,
you're a wife beater?
I have a dark navy blue tank top, and it matches the one he was wearing when he was trading Todoroki.
and
I think
he
that was
he doesn't have a wife though, so he's just a beater.
I didn't have enough space for it, but that was one of the shorts I wanted to make where we were in the middle of Pokemon Infinite Fusion, and one of the shorts I wanted to make was for this moment where Jinzu goes, what was it? He says, what's the name of that thing that you hit? Referring to like a punching bag and stuff like that.
Speed bag.
And you go, speed bag, punching bag, my wife, I said.
My wife.
And we both fucking lose it as it's just, okay.
Yes.
But we get that fight, and he loses his eye. It's honestly, once again, one of those shots where it works really well in the manga, where you see this flower that was given to his wife by him. Like, he basically snuck a flower into the hospital for her because he knew that was her favorite.
She's not allowed to have flowers. She's a woman.
Well, he's not allowed to be near her because he's an abuser.
That too. That's where that's where the issue is. She's not allowed to have flowers. Wife beater.
So it shows off the flower. It shows her reaction to basically like something's wrong, and then it shows the flower. And in the manga, the next panel is the scar that he gets on his eye, where it basically rips up, and the blood, it makes the same shape as the flower.
It's pretty cute imagery that
Very
doesn't-
nice.
That doesn't seem possible for for animation to do properly, even though they could just do a match cut.
Yeah, you're never gonna have a perfect panel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Panel animated. Yeah. Well, Bleach apparently is doing that pretty well. Like, we'll get to that episode where like people showed off that it's like 1-to-1s. But that's also because Bleach has very slow moments of like, not to say like anything against it, but it breathes in the moment. So that's how Bleach works.
Okay.
But when it comes to My Hero, this final bit, he fights it and he basically launches into space with it.
Drops it from orbit while burning it.
I'll go
out.
beyond plus ultra.
And because the fact that it keeps regenerating, so he has to burn it,
Fully incinerate it.
fully incinerate its head in order for it to not be able to regenerate. And he's able to. He does it.
Prominence burn, one of my favorite moves, where it's literally just him exploding.
Yeah, and the fact that he can't do it in populated places because then it would literally kill people.
Crashes down into the ground, and he makes the final pose that All Might made, except there's one difference.
What?
Endeavor is using his left arm.
That's
the thing. I'll say that. Jinzu.
That's unfortunately a huge thing. That's like, if someone uses their left arm for something that you usually do with your right, that's actually a sign of heresy. That you claim to be a follower of it, but if you use your left arm instead, you're just doesn't have the same meaning as with your right.
I don't give a fuck what you just said, I'll be honest. No, Jinzu, I was going to say, there's a whole joke they have in the first episode of the next season where you see Hawks come up to Endeavor and he goes, aren't you doing the same pose that All Might did? And he goes, no, All Might uses right arm. I use my left.
Because I'm all that's left.
Okay, they brought me back with a pun.
Actually, it's heresy and it's fucking what?
It's a whole thing.
I know,
It's
I'm
an
making a
actual
joke about
it's,
it.
it's an
Like,
actual
what?
symbolistic thing.
Anyway.
All Might right. the All Might right, and the only thing left Endeavor.
Alt Might.
All left and deaf.
So, Jesus. I was going to say, I think even Shigaraki makes a joke about that at a later point when he does that pose, and he goes, hey, did you use this arm or the other one? Who cares? But we get that whole finish of the fight, and the last little tidbit to tease us for next season is Deku meeting with the previous users.
And he wakes up with a funny feeling and his hand covered in all for one. Or one for all.
No! No!
I'm not wrong.
Characters! Tell me about characters.
My
Tell me what you
favorite-
think of these characters.
My favorite character in this season has to be it is Lemillion.
It's Lemillion.
Lemillion. He just comes
Lucas
in.
from Earthbound, yeah. He's the best.
He's a shining beacon of smiles, and with a fun power. And like he practiced so much with it that it's literally just like breathing to him. His power.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about you, Jinsu? What do you think of these characters?
From the episodes that you've seen, what were some characters that stood out to you?
Lemillion was pretty banger. I liked the villains' backstories. Whenever I'm watching anything in My Hero,
Pops.
and like the villains are always the highlight.
I really like when you oh fuck, I can't remember, but there was this quote that it was like, in a world of unique people, be different. Like there was like something with that I can't remember, but it's basically
When everyone's special, no one's special.
it stems from that, from Syndrome and Incredibles. Basically, in this world of everybody wanting to be a hero and all that kind of stuff, what does it? How intense does someone's backstory have to be in order to make them a villain?
Right.
So I'll say
And, I like it when they get a little bit more complex too, with like the character interactions, and like the whole family dynamic, the whole dysfunctional family dynamic with the Todoroki family.
Like the expectations.
Yeah, they have, it's a realistically like dysfunctional fucked up family. That's how the kids would react and like talk to the mom after growing up under an abusive father and be like, why do you even care if like anything happens to him? Like, he hurt you, and he's like, but he gave me flowers, like, maybe not that part specifically.
But
Maybe not the Stockholm Syndrome part.
but more in villain backstories themselves. The fact that it takes more of the family itself, not the society, not necessarily the society itself causing these villains to be made. They do get made from society, like from not being helped by society, but they were definitely set on this path due to their family's expectations or fucked upness or trauma.
Something
right. All the villains have a very real and like very palpable like trauma that they went through that like turned them into what they are, right?
Yeah.
Like Hero Killer Stain. That shit was banger. That shit was
it was
unmatched.
awesome.
That shit was fucking amazing.
Also,
He got his shit kicked in by Batman.
Also, the fact that a lot of their powers are also just the fact that there's those kind of stories, and then there's the ones where they have this power that's severely fucked up that the family doesn't know how to react.
Toga, her entire thing is that she drinks blood. How do you think you find that out?
By finding her drinking the blood of a baby bird.
Yeah. Well, also reports from the school of like, hey, so we heard that you beat the shit out of one of your classmates and then drank his blood.
And then you started looking like him, and that was really weird.
That was really
creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the villains definitely in this are probably my
highlights.
Definitely highlights. We should have shown him the backstory of Gentle Criminal.
I know. I didn't have time.
Yeah, we didn't have time.
But yeah, like the main villain, what's his name again?
Overhaul.
Shigaraki?
Shigaraki, yeah.
Oh, Shigaraki,
Tomura.
okay.
Or
Tomura Shigaraki.
yeah.
Shigaraki.
So Shigaraki's backstory, that's pretty tragic. But
He's not in this season.
Have you seen that one reel that was going around where it was basically it was the episode where we get the backstory, like the beginning part, where it showed like the Funimation intro, like the do 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 do, all happy.
Then it instantly
bright
goes
blue
to
sky. I killed my family. It's so fucked up.
That's my hero.
It's so messed up, especially because it's just like, look how bright this opening of Funimation.
Wow.
I killed my family.
Oh
no!
Oh, is that what this episode is? But was there anybody else who stood out to you?
Nope.
No. Just no.
I said everything I needed to say, I guess.
Final thoughts? Final thoughts about the show? The season?
This season, it has a lot of really good moments. It does take a direction that when you're watching My Hero Academia, like from season 1 to 3, you're just like, oh, this is just gonna be like a fun superheroes show and all that kind of stuff. But then season 4 is where like the end of season 3, and then season 4 is where you're just like, whoa, what the fuck? Oh, a child being kidnapped and being having trauma after being saved and all that kind of shit. Fuck.
Who's worse, Caesar Clown or Overhaul?
Overhaul, because he actually, like, she still has the bandages on her arms. Also, Caesar Clown is just fucked up.
Also, Dressrosa kind of helped him out.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. that was a funny thing to think about. Of just like, oh man, Dressrosa, you're becoming a funny character. God damn it.
Damn it. It's almost like the passage of time is making me forget more and more about your atrocities.
So, got any thoughts with Mayhem? Got a question for us?
My question is, do you think Gentle Criminal would come back?
I'm not legally allowed to answer this question.
Damn it. That means he does. That means I right.
I won't say how, but yeah, no, we get a whole thing with Gentle Criminal that's really fucking cool. Like, honestly, it's one of my favorite things. Like, I can't say how or when, basically, but yeah, it's cool. It's like, it's... My Hero Academia is ending.
Yeah.
And so it is at the point where you need to have points that come full circle, basically. Like, Stain's entire story about wanting to meet with All Might and have All Might kill him. In Season 6, he meets with All Might. His stories finally basically come to a conclusion. At most, I can see him maybe coming back for the final war, but that's about it. Like, every character has to have their moment for their story to conclude. And that's the job of mangakas, the creator of mangas. Once you have all these storylines, you better hope that you can tie them all together in a nice, neat knot.
They better, yeah, or else you're going to get...
I can say from experience, they're doing pretty well.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. If you liked it, subscribe for more, and we'll catch you next time with Season 5, right? Season 5?
Actually,
What?
next thing we're watching is My Hero Academia Heroes Rising.
Heroes Rising.
The movie, yeah. We
are
are going to, what's the name of the island they go to? I think it's Naboo.
Oh, yeah, because they're like...
Because the Star Wars references, yeah.
All right.
Hey, Jinsu, you ready to go to Naboo?
Schnabu. Babu.
Jinsu,
Huh?
want to go to Naboo?
No.
What about Star Wars?
Why would I want to go to...
A galaxy far, far away.
What's that one Shaquille O'Neal reel where it's like this thing, ooh, this thing, ooh.
The jack-o'-lantern. The chocolate ice.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. If you want to see more of our content, you can find our YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter on our Linktree at linktree/greenvillains. That's linktr.ee/greenvillains.